Hey everybody, welcome back to Northernlion Plays the Binding of Isaac Afterbirth Plus. The Eden runs just can't be stopped. We're going for the baker's dozen today. What's that? I thought you had a problem with the phrase baker's dozen? That's... what are you talking... I don't understand. XZBQRZ0C. Really bad rate of fire. Sorry, really great rate of fire, really bad overall damage. PhD is lovely if we can get some pills that actually... I mean, at this point, HP up is probably the safest bet, but, I mean, a 7 rate of fire, and I think that's just a raw stat, so that's actually the worst of the two outcomes. The other option would be that it would be because of an item like, you know, Mom's Perfume that lowers our tier cap. The reasoning is that it will keep our tier cap at 5, so tiers upgrades are less likely to be worth something right off the bat. But the run, especially now with the pickup of the relic, is really... good with the exception of our damage, and the last run started super strong, so I'm not trying to judge this run necessarily 100% based on the merits of our last run, which I don't think is fair. 7 rate of fire makes up for our inefficient damage right now, and that's all I'm going to say about that, is that, you know, it's largely pretty positive. So we're going to use Power Pill, and that got the job done very easily, while also leaving us the chance of a... we might as well. Also leaving us the chance of a good use of Mom's Bra in the future. But for now, we do want to take Explosive Diarrhea. Now that we have a little extra HP, we don't have to sweat it as much. We take Explosive Diarrhea, and we're going to try to get a second secret room and a stone chest. Worked out. Second secret room gave us nothing. And that... at this point, I feel like we're safe to move onwards, because we have gotten the item room. We might eventually get enough money for the shopper and arcade, but it doesn't really matter. And honestly, it turns out that we were pretty lucky to get that HP upgrade, because we're rolling exclusively on Spirit Hearts. So, I mean, the gist of it right now is that it really doesn't matter. We're in such a good spot, and 1 HP is about as good as, like, 4 HP right now, which I understand sounds like a ridiculous claim, and may well be a ridiculous claim. But all I mean by that is... you know, if we get 9 lives, or Abaddon, or, you know, Dark Judas or something like that, there's a few different options on our Deal with the Devil, which is almost guaranteed on this floor, that are basically static. It doesn't matter what our HP is, we're gonna be in the same position after taking them. So, it's really, really nice to have more than 0 HP. That way we can pay Red Hearts instead of Spirit Hearts, which are a little bit harder to come by. Especially if we didn't have the relic, which obviously we do. But yeah, this situation is fine. The only thing we need is a damage upgrade, and that can happen pretty easily on this run. Last run, we fought Hush and Mega Satan, so I have, like, every available excuse not to do that on this run, but we'll see how things go. I feel like I'm in a groove. Like, I'm in a Zane groove. We've had runs that have been fun. They've also been largely pretty strong. And usually right off the bat, like, we haven't had too many runs that we've had to, like, you know, scrounge up from the freaking gutter and, you know, oh, we got, like, this run with, no relic plus our rate of fire being, like, 13 is where things start to get problematic, but instead we got, you know, halved, or rather doubled rate of fire, which is, like, excellent for us. Anyway. PhD is also great if we can find a way to make it pop, but you know that. You don't need me to tell you that. We do have an Isaac's room. Like, there's a pipe dream for me, and that's that, like, even if this Deal with the Devil stinks, we get into Isaac's room, blow up the carpet, it has a black market, we take an item or 2 on the black market, HP depending, and then we can sleep in the bed and get 3 Spirit Hearts back, which... if we pay 3 Spirit Hearts for an item from the black market, then this gives us 3 Spirit Hearts back just for sleeping in the bed. So it's basically like paying 3 bombs for 2 items. Wait, 1 item, I guess, but still. We need 1 more bomb to make that trade plausible. And also, it's very, very unlikely to happen in the first place because we're talking about, you know, we're rolling like a D12, and we have to hit, it's like winking Snake Eyes. 1-1 is Snake Eyes. I want 1-2 on my D12. I want a 12. But anyway, I don't think I've ever rolled a D12, to be honest with you. I've rolled I've rolled many different kinds of dice. Certainly a D6. Definitely a D20 because they're commonly used as life counters in Magic the Gathering. But I don't know about a D12. That's a little bit more on the side of dice. I don't know if I've ever held in my hands, to be honest with you. Demon Baby is good, and it is a damage upgrade, but I don't know if it's good enough. We should not necessarily have taken lunch yet, but again, it's fairly minor. The mark, by the way, really nice for us. I would say it has taken our damage to a point that is okay. We should have probably popped 2 of spades first. In fact, it's better than okay. And the main reason it's better than okay is because our rate of fire is just disgustingly good. Sure. Sack of pennies is very solid. I mean, we got enough keys thanks to the 2 of spades, even though we botched the 2 of spades play. Obviously, it's going to leave us in a position where we can pick up something from our shop, even if it is just a consumable, and another bomb and Spirit Heart there is acceptable. Larry Jr. should melt here. We got enough bombs to make Isaac's room work. If the dream actually comes true, I will ball out on Isaac's room. Because, if it's a black market, that is. I will ball out. Because we're getting so many Spirit Hearts anyway. 2 items for 1 red heart and then 3 Spirit Hearts has almost no effect whatsoever on our HP from a functional standpoint. I mean, literally, obviously, it has some effect, but from like a functional standpoint, you know, we only need like X HP to survive right now, where X is probably like 1. But we shouldn't get that low. Anyway, we kept 3 bombs for a reason. We're gonna crack into these 2 here. It's a stinky Isaac's room, which is no good. And that's just a portal to the next floor. So honestly, we're just gonna go. We don't need to go to our shop with 10 cents. There's a possible chance of an item, but unlikely to matter too much. Yeah, I don't know what I was thinking there. I'll just own up to it. I think I thought if I just ran fast enough, I wouldn't get hit by the spikes, but then I would have gotten hit by the spikes on the way out unless we had the perfect diagonal, so it was a whiff. But anyway, it doesn't matter. I don't know what to say, honestly. It's one of those situations where I almost feel like I should apologize for the quality of the run right now. Because we've had probably like close to 11 or 12 runs out of 13 that have not really been super difficult. And on a couple of them, I've played like actual garbage. Like, I don't know why I'm whispering it, as if you can't just turn up your volume. But yeah, I've played like serious trash on some of these. Not this one. This one's been fine, even though there's been a little bit of brain fart action lately. But yeah, I mean, it's the innate Canadian inside of me that's like, I'm sorry I'm not in more misery for your entertainment right now. But on the flip side, I think the commentary's been nice as a result. You know, we've talked about a lot of things. I've probably made myself look like a monster because I didn't buy the homeless lady at McDonald's that meal when she asked me to, even though, you know, I certainly do have the means. But it's like, I don't know. I guess it makes me, maybe I just got to accept that I am a little calloused in that nature, you know? And calloused, I think, is a good word. My previously, you know, baby soft skin has become hardened to the outside world as a result of multiple abrasions. Or is that just a good excuse to close yourself off? I don't know. 10 bombs is good when we have 0, but I don't think it's good enough. Dogtooth, on the other hand, might only be like effect. It's not I think it's a raw damage increase, not a proportional damage increase. So this isn't really fair to say, but at least right now it's like a 10% damage up, and we don't have the bombs necessary to use the special effect of it. But I think that it's one of those things that guarantees us kind of some future prospects as long as we have bombs to make it pop. It's hard for me to say no to a damage upgrade, even when that damage upgrade is kind of not that good. Like I know people were like, Isaac talk, you know, resident sleeper, but I understand where you're coming from. Played this game enough. But one of the hard things for me to get used to, or at least come to terms with recently, is the idea that I probably overrate like all damage upgrades. Most of the, like, what is responsible for most of our wins on an attribute standpoint? I honestly think it's probably mostly like a couple of really good damage upgrades. Like, if we win this run, the mark right now, at least from the way things are looking, is like a 10 out of 10. And the relic is like a 10 out of 10. How much of our win is Dogtooth responsible for? 1%? 2%? I mean, it's kind of an abstract thing to measure to begin with, but I think you might understand what I'm saying. It's like, you know, on the Electoral College map, you know, the mark is like winning New York. It's like 30-something Electoral College seats, right? Or votes, whatever you call them in the US. But, and then, like, Dogtooth is like winning Nebraska. It's like 9 votes or something like that. It's not worth nothing. It's nice to have. Remember, I chose to have it, you know? And, of course, in a democracy, it's supposed to represent the will of the people and blah, blah, blah. But I'm just saying, like, there are items that are disproportionately useful, which is obvious, but then you got to think like, well, maybe we should go a little harder on our donation machine, or sorry, our reroll machine to make those happen. But this is inside baseball that is honestly probably like 99% irrelevant on a run in which we have decent damage, we're ahead of the curve, and we are also rocking the relic, which is, I don't want to say makes us unstoppable, but it makes us hard to stop. It'd be really nice to kill a few of these guys before they went downwards. Obviously, didn't necessarily come to fruition. We need more damage if Mom's Bra is going to be good. It's very much like a rich get richer sort of item, if you want it to actually work for you. The thing is, like, almost every item in the game gets better as the items around it get better. So it's a little bit of a misnomer to be like, oh, you know, this item gets better when your run gets better, because it describes almost every item in Isaac, I think. Like Shoop da Whoop, for example. You know, if your run is bad, Shoop da Whoop is not as good as it would be if your run was good. Assuming it's bad because of a damage reason anyway. Ooh, Monstro's Lung, 100% yes. Rate of fire is going to suffer, but not really. Because it's only, our rate of fire, if we didn't have Monstro's Lung, is what's suffering. We got to peep it. We could have pushed it, but it's also fine. We need to keep these bombs for Dogtooth, but yeah, let's crack into it, see what's going on here. There's a secret room over here, it seems. They will not allow me to exit, which I disapprove of. I am an adult and can do what I want. We want to do the room regardless because, I mean, as you just saw right there, we're going to get like 2 out of 4 relic charges, which are in the background here, for doing this room. So, I mean, honestly, the team deserves a lot of credit for this move. If we're gonna rag on Nicholas for... Thank you for giving me an easy exit. If you're gonna rag on Nicholas for, like, every nerf that they add to the game, or like, oh, well, like, 6 of the items have exactly the same sprite, just rotated a little bit. I understand those concerns, by the way, but we should give them credit for instituting a very logical change, which in this case was making it so that you get charges while you're on the mob and boss trap rooms. Always just seemed logical to me to begin with, and a good change, I think. Again, making good progress here, but this would be a great floor to get a deal with the devil that puts us over the top. Like Sylvester Stallone. You know what? Hell yeah. Exactly like Sylvester Stallone. Hey, somebody call for me? Sylvester, what are you doing here? Hey, you know, just seizing the means of production. Oh, yeah, the Communist Manifesto, Sylvester Stallone. I try to keep the show apolitical. Hey, ain't nothing apolitical about redistributing the wealth of the man. Sylvester, your net worth is $110 million. Are you sure you want to go through with this? Some things in life are priceless, for everything else is MasterCard. Sylvester, get out of here, Sylvester. You're creating an uncomfortable tone on this show. You're really apologetic about that. Well, thank you, I suppose. Okay, I can't believe we didn't get hit on that room. We did get, the obvious, which is Whore of Babylon. Very, very good. We have the relic, which allows us to support this Whore of Babylon state, like, forever. So... Oh, did somebody order Sylvester? 1960s era Michael Caine, whose impression I've forgotten how to do. That's right, it's me. 1960s Michael Caine. Can you name a movie I was in the 1960s? Northernlion? I think you were, well, I mean, the original Italian Job. That's correct, the original Italian Job. Wasn't always old man Alfred Pennyworth, you know? I used to be a womanizer. I don't know. Now I've got a little Sean Connery in my voice for some reason. I'm not good at impressions. I always like, there's a bit of like a turn up your nose sort of thing at comedy that involves impressions. It's like, oh, that's for, you know, the proletariat. I only listen to anti-comedy like Nirvana, the band, the show, which I actually have seen and I think is quite funny. I'm not turning up my nose at that, but I'm just saying, come on, it's hipster comedy for certain. And if you can't embrace that, we're at a point of self-unawareness that means you shouldn't laugh at anything to begin with. You can't laugh at yourself, but you know, I think there's also a little element of jealousy there, which is like, I wish I could do some good impressions. The Sylvester Stallone impression is not worth it. Like, it's not worth getting excited about because it's just so easy. It's like doing an Arnold Schwarzenegger impression, you know? Everyone has like at least a 6 out of 10 Arnold Schwarzenegger impression. Because you just go, you know, put that cookie down now! And you're like, oh, that's Arnold Schwarzenegger. Most of the time he's actually, you know, probably like, I'll have the Reuben sandwich, please, you know? But you just, that's a line that he said in a cartoonish voice. That's a little played out. And Sylvester's the same way, because if you ever run out of stuff to say in the Sylvester Stallone impression, you just go, and people go, ha ha! Yes, that's right, that's what he sounds like. Hey, everyone makes me sound like an idiot, even though I won an Oscar for Best Original Screenplay in 1970, and Rocky is universally disrespected as kind of a brain-dead franchise, despite the first couple of movies be a great story about a working-class man's rise above adversity. You know, Rocky gets a bad rap, man. But I've gone down that road too many times. With 7 cents, why not? I try to get people to respect Rocky. But it's an uphill battle to some extent. Because I go, hey, respect Rocky. And they go, yeah, but what about the one in which he's like 62 years old and he's fighting that 25-year-old man? Isn't that patently ridiculous? Yo, that's the point of the freaking movie, you ding dong. Is that Rocky the whole time is going, I don't want to fight this kid, I'm gonna get my brains smashed in, you know? And they're like, but, you know, this might be your last hurrah, Rocky. Like, this might be your last stab at, you know, your whole life has been defined by being a good boxer. And now Father Time is cruelly pushing you out of your spot at the top. You know, this might be your last stab at, you know, a reminiscing about what your past life is like. They don't play the movie straight, like, all right, Rock, here's his weakness. You just gotta, you know, punch him in the testicles and you got him. You go, okay, Mickey, you know, it's a heartfelt, albeit not perfect movie about, you know, growing old when the value you've derived from society is very much, you know, tailored to a young man's game. But, you know, people just, I mean, it's like 10 years old at this point. That movie might be respected, but at the time, the discourse, quote unquote, was definitely like, there's no way Rocky can beat, you know, Mason Dixon. Of course. Have you seen them? He's like a 28-year-old professional boxer in the prime shape of his life. Of course he's not gonna beat Mason Dixon. Point is, he doesn't have to beat Mason Dixon. He just has to beat society's prejudice about what it means to be like a cast-off professional athlete. He just has to beat expectations, and that's enough. But even that, who knows if it's gonna come to fruition. Anyway, I haven't seen Creed yet, but I hear that it's amazing. Okay, we're on Necropolis 2, so it becomes up to us how we want to handle this. I would love to get an early teleport card. I'm optimistic about our chances, given the number of sacks on this room. Devil card is not a teleport card. Wheel of Fortune is not a teleport card. 2 luck upgrades is amazing. So it's Devil, Strength, and Wheel of Fortune. So sadly, no teleport card, but still plenty of time to make this deal with the Devil. I've never been, like, you might be saying, NL, the movie's not worth it. I get annoyed when people think, by default, they're smarter than media. There's a lot of media that it's easy to be smarter than. If you watch The Happening and you go, this is trash, then you're like, you know, make fun of it. But I had, like, the most tilted moment of my young hipster life in my first year of university. And this is, you know, now at this point, 11 years ago. So I'm not holding a grudge. People change, or even if they don't, it doesn't matter. It's just a stupid, trivial, like, anecdote anyway. But, my favorite movie of all time at the time, and still to this day, perhaps because it's wonderful, is Evil Dead 2. It's a great mix of horror and satire. It's very intelligently made. I'm a big fan of that movie. And I was like, you know what? I'm in college with like-minded people here. Let's have a little movie night and we'll watch Evil Dead 2. I own it on DVD because I wanted to respect the creator, even though he did go on to make Spider-Man 3 and insult my intelligence. Guppy's Tale. We're going to take them both here. Anyway, the point is, I watched it, and it's not meant to be bad. That's ignoring the situation. Gimpy's really nice here. But it's meant to be silly. It's silly in tone. And the people that I was watching it with, not all of them, but some of them were like, hey, look at how silly this thing is. Don't these filmmakers know how to make a movie? And first I was like, haha, but like, you know, it's meant to be silly. And then progressively over the course of the evening, I wouldn't say mad, but like more and more annoyed, where I was eventually like, you know what, we just stop watching the movie if you don't like it. And they're like, no, we're having a good time making fun of it. It was like, it's a testament to my own inability to chill out in that situation, but it was a personal nightmare for me. I get so mind flooded when people are watching a movie and they don't even give it a chance. They just go, isn't that stupid? You might be saying, Anna, what about your treatment of Prometheus? Look, first off, I respect you for trying to get me to do some self-analysis. It's a very valuable trait. I think I'm just gonna not go to boss rush. We're gonna be slightly too slow, and that's okay. I gave Prometheus a chance, genuinely. You know, even we're talking like 90% of the way through the movie. Charlize Theron has that moment, you know what I'm talking about, where everyone's like, just run to the side. Even then, I was like, I'm willing to give it a shot. It was only after it was over that I turned to Kate and went, I think that was like really stupid and bad. I gave it a chance. And every subsequent time that I've watched it, I've been like, this is exceedingly stupid. And I recognize that if you're a fan of Prometheus, it probably gets annoying to hear me rag on that movie all the time. So I'm trying I'm just using it as an example of at least being a little self-aware. But yeah, suffice it to say, that's like my #1 pet peeve. I had the same thing, like, and this is my bad because I never should have selected this movie, but one hungover afternoon in university, everyone was like, let's watch a movie. And I was like, oh, have you guys seen The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly? One of my favorite movies. And, you know, there's great moments in that you make you sort of forget that it opens with like 45 minutes of just like a single shot of a cactus in the desert, basically. You know, it's got the ooh, 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 wow, wow, wow. And then it's got the legacy of gold at the end of it, you know. If you're gonna shoot, just shoot. Don't talk. It's got some great moments in it. But then, like, it's extremely slow-paced in a way that is good if you're watching it, you know, in the right environment. But we were like, we really should have just watched, like, Bulletproof Monk or something like that instead. But yeah, everyone was like, this movie stinks. Why is it so revered? And I'm like, hey, guys, you gotta... Hey, it's a patient film, I understand. But, like, this, you know... So I did take Brimstone. Brimstone Monster as Long is kind of fun. So basically, I'm an idiot who, you know, at least at this stage in my life, I now recognize the importance of the phrase, read the room. Reading the room is very important, you know? If you're in a room full of toddlers, you know, oh, let's watch Django Unchained. That's going to invite some questions you may not want to answer. And if it's a room full of, you know, 17-year-olds and you're the only one self-important enough to be the kind of hipster that's like, let's watch, you know, Rashomon. You know, maybe I just kept company that I shouldn't have kept in my first year of university. Like, some of these people are still my friends, but the person I'm thinking of with whom I watched Evil Dead 2, like, 8 of us also watched The Departed together right after it came out, and she was like, I didn't really get it. I thought it was just sort of like, just a generic action movie. You know, it's a generic action movie. My butthole. It's me, Frank Costello. Don't stop till you're numb. You know? Another impression. It's a little too easy to be bad at but get credit for, but... That woman is also probably 3 times smarter than I am. Genuinely. This is not just me being self-effacing to then make myself look like the good guy in the situation by being complimentary. But I don't think... She and I aren't on the same spectrum with respect to movies. If anything, I think I've probably moved closer to her spectrum for movies since that point. Not that we've ever kept in touch, but, you know, I was like, what does this mean for the meta-cinematic, you know, medium? And she was just like, I really like Alexis Bledel. And the thing is, I am the dick in the situation because it took me way too long to realize that that's actually totally fine. Anyway. That's a very classic little encapsulated Northernlion bit there. Well, I would like to throw that in. Oh, I will pay the iron price for this. I don't know if that was worth it, but I didn't really want the body to mess up our existing HP. And Whore of Babylon, for that matter. Anyway. Yeah, it's the perfect Northernlion anecdote because it starts out by vilifying somebody else, much to the point of aggrandizing myself, and then it loops back around to I'm being condescending in the first place, and we all leave feeling better about ourselves, maybe? I don't know. It's like there's a little irony and self-awareness encapsulated there anyway. Yeah, I'm studying for my final. You can tell from how many times I said encapsulation. I got roasted, man. Somebody on stream asked me what polymorphism was, and instead of describing what polymorphism was, I described the purpose of overloaded functions. And then they went like, NL, are you sure, like, you know what you're talking? Come on, polymorphism and function overloading are similar enough that you don't have to ask if I'm okay because I messed. It's two fairly simple things to get confused. I understand the error of my ways now. Polymorphism is when an object of a derived class can also act as an object of any of its base classes. Sorry, the opposite. When an object of a base class can operate as an object of any of its derived classes, but not vice versa due to the ISA nature of composition. Whereas overloaded function calls at runtime look at the number and types of the arguments and you get. I see it like Just stop. Just stop. DAE, I'm in Computer Science 101. I'm 12, by the way. Okay, what do we got going on here? Free to play, by the way. Let me in. I'm ready. Dude, you got freaking lagged out there. Okay, it's a 2-room. I mean, certainly. Take the rune. It's not that good, but I'll live with it. And then reroll everything else. And then, I mean, Balls of Steel's pretty good. Arrow Walk is irrelevant. Also sounds like a flippin' Pokemon. Just pop the Sun. Then we got Chariot, Wheel of Fortune, Arrow Walk. Arrow Walk! I know Marowak is a Pokemon, okay? We want maybe Wheel of Fortune. I think that's probably the outcome we would choose to go with, ideally, at this point. This run is beyond great, in case that's not obvious. I mean, if you're looking... We have Brimstone, good damage. Monstro's Lung adds a little silliness factor. It's the second run in a row in which we've had Book of Belial, actually, which it doesn't happen all that often. It used to be... Man, think back to the glory days. Book of Belial used to guarantee you a deal with the devil. We've now progressed so far past that point that I had forgotten to even talk about it. But yeah, there was like people kicking up a fuss. They're like, Book of Belial now just gives you like a 25% extra devil deal chance. It's so much worse now. And it is. It's still pretty good, but it used to be like, oh, Book of Belial showed up. It's like a viable alternative choice. Because previously you're like, oh, I got something that gives me Spirit Hearts once every 6 rooms. I'm just going to take that always. But, yeah, I honestly, like, I don't like that nerf that much because to this day it's still, like, it's not horrendous, but it has made Book of Belial just like a slightly upper middle tier spacebar item instead of what it used to be, which was like a transformative item. And I like that because it's a transformative item on the offensive side which there wasn't a whole heck of a lot of in the spacebar space before. I mean, to be honest with you, experimental treatment gave us HP, so I'm gonna pop this and look for a red heart. First off, we can get some HP back, but I want to get back to permanent Polaroid invincibility if possible. It's not like this is precluding us from making the Hush fight, which is completely sensible still. This is a little, like, inside baseball. We don't have to do this, but health up, unfortunately, does not give us a red heart. So, it doesn't help us right now. Although, if we got 2 red hearts that dropped, we could then maybe take both of these. Or are these both? Well, it's not like we want Plan C anyway. Which people have been telling me, low-key, I underrate Plan C a little bit. I can respect that. Apparently, Plan C plus 9 lives basically allows you to just systematically destroy every boss on planet Earth. But at the same time, why would you ever... Most of the time, why would you want to give up 8 lives to kill 8 bosses? Bosses are sometimes, like, the easiest part. But I think that's... I have, like, a personal chip on my shoulder about Plan C, perhaps. Come on, dude. Just a red. I got 2.65 luck. You're giving me consumables, but you're not giving me the consumables I want. You're losing me, my jury. Okay, so grab this, grab that. Boom, 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 boo-doo-doo-doo. Again, we could have made a show out of taking both, but who cares? And I don't really want to fight Hush, but I will, because Lusty Blood is actually going to allow us to get to, like, infinity damage. And by infinity, I mean probably, like, 18 eventually. So hopefully we get some decent stuff here. I don't like Kidney Stone anymore. Anarchist Cookbook is bad, but yeah, that's what I was thinking, is maybe we got Bookworm. Probably doesn't give us double the number of shots, but I'm assuming it might give us 1 extra shot from time to time. I think I'd rather have the occasional spiders at this point. Sack of Sacks is good. I hit the sack. Been too long. I'm glad to be back. I was let loose from the noose that kept me hanging around. This is the AC/DC lyrics are probably the band whose lyrics sound the most ridiculous if you say them in, like, a lounge voice. Yeah, I'm back in the back of a Cadillac, #1 with the bullet. I'm a Magic Mac. I don't think he says Magic Mac, but, you know, he goes, Magic Mac. Let loose from the noose that's kept me hanging around. Something like that. It's not that bad, you gotta admit. Just a look at the sky just to get me high. Forget the hearse, cause I'll never die. I mean, obviously, like, he sings about 15 octaves above me. Can we telepills? I mean, you should have seen that coming. I was gonna say, can we telepills into an error room that makes it so we don't have to do this fight? But dude, Swallowed Penny is a more fun item regardless, which is actually Crooked Penny, which is actually Dad's Omega Penny. Yes, I'm back, mama. Well, I'm back. Forgot that Sack of Sacks, which everyone hated. Sack of Sacks! Ooh, la da 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 da. Okay. Please get to the phase in which you summon enemies so I can build up at least a Book of Belial level of damage from smacking ya. You know, it's nice. We gotta make a decision. What do you think? Should we aim at him, or should we aim in the opposite direction? Like, aiming at him is guaranteed to hit with at least one of the brimstone lasers. But sometimes if we aim in the other direction, it seems like we would get more value out of it. I don't know. I think we should just aim at him and stop overthinking the situation. But the closer we can stand without actually touching him, the more beams have a chance to land their shots. Because they come out at like a... Essentially, whether or not the beam hits Hush is a product of the angle at which the beam leaves our body. And the tolerance factor becomes way higher the closer you get, you know. There's like 180 degrees that will actually hit him instead of like where we're standing right now, where there's like 30 degrees that'll actually hit him. We've taken more hits than I would have expected here, but I think we came down with 12 HP, so shouldn't sweat it too much yet. I hope we're safe here. Seems optimistic. I think that was my own, like, $3 bill, or I think we have fruitcake, but it's our own fruitcake tier. It's getting a little dangerous, but Gimpy's helping out, no doubt. Usually means he's going away for a minute, unfortunately. Just dust him. Just dust him, dude. Not one of my strongest Hush fights ever, but we're alive. And we're gonna come through with, like, what seems to be yet another, like, completely decent win here, to be honest. We weren't even that low. I would like to pick up worthwhile card. Like, I'd like to, if I'm being honest, go back to the previous card, which was Fortune Teller, or Wheel of Fortune, sorry. For now, that's not happening. And that's okay. Sorry, my voice got absolutely shredded by the AC/DC impression. I'm like, oh, do I need to go see a doctor? That's a bit of hyperbole. But you know, I record a lot of episodes on a daily basis. Too many, to be honest with you. It's selfish. I record them because it's work and it's fun, so I can justify it. But I do sometimes worry, like, I wonder if I'm doing, like, long-term damage to my voice. There are probably careers that are more vocally stressful. For the most part, I'm just having a conversation here, but, you know, take it from someone that taught for a while. Teaching was not nearly as stressful on the voice. And you spend a lot of time talking as a teacher, but you rarely do you spend 50 minutes rambling and, you know, occasionally shouting and screaming, like, you know, admittedly. I'm just going to tell you straight up, in case this makes you angry. I am not ever going to ignore the chest to go to the delirium floor, because there's no point. The void is guaranteed items, but it's way more of a risk, and it's less fun. So, like, just go fight Mega Satan again, but it's very hilarious because I said that there's no way I'm going to do Mega Satan again on this run, but and Hush for that matter, but I will do the void occasionally if it shows up after Blue Baby, if the run feels right. But, like, I'm insulted for the most part when it shows up after the Cathedral. I really think that as time goes on, the worst part of Afterbirth Plus, from the perspective of somebody who makes videos of this, is the way that they implemented the void as, like, a percentage-based chance. I really don't like it because it makes me the bad guy for being like, hey, our run stinks, but they're offering us a semi-unusual opportunity to go to an alternate floor. Like, I don't have a better solution, but I also, you know, don't make 70% of each sale of this game, so I don't think that's necessarily my job. But I don't think it's handled to the point where it, like, ruins the game. It's just annoying when you gotta be like, well, I would prefer to not actively choose to almost have a guaranteed chance to lose because the delirium, or the void, the delirium, I'm talking about the boss in this case, is just like a super bullet sponge that also telefrags you, so I'm not particularly salty about it, but I do think that I don't think it was handled the proper way. Because there's so many exits for Isaac at this point. But hey, thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed the episode. If you did, click the like button. Helps out a great deal. Of course, subscribe if you want to see more in the future. But for now, thanks for watching. And I'll see you next time.